After going on quite a few electric skateboard backpacking trips, I have had many, many, many critical failures. Shredding belts like they're practically made of paper, having my wheels fall off twice. I don't exactly have the greatest track record with electric skateboards and reliability. And honestly, it makes me nervous to try anything more than a quick local overnight trip because it's always a coin flip if something's going to go terribly wrong and I'm going to have to get bailed out in the middle of nowhere. And so to try and cut down on the amount of issues I have, I put together a daily maintenance checklist that I do on every morning while I'm out on one of these trips. So the first thing is, does it even turn on? Which is really important if it got damp or wet from water exposure, like if I was riding it in rain the day before. So I need to make sure it actually turns on and responds to the remote input and that the motors actually work fine. First major point of physical inspection is the belts, and that's because they always get damaged or snap. And that's because I'm riding on gravel trails all the time and on the sides of roads. And gravel, sand, and all other sorts of nasty debris basically get bounced up and causes tears. And so if I find a tear, I'm going to replace that belt almost immediately because it's almost guaranteed that belt is going to snap. And then I look for any debris in the pulleys themselves. If there's anything lodged in the pulley teeth, like small bits of gravel, I clean that out, and any sand or anything else that's in there that will cause premature wear on the teeth. I also check and see how the pulley teeth are doing. Are they worn down? Are they able to grip the belt just fine, or are they starting to skip? Then I check the deck itself for cracks, especially in and around the trucks. I also look for layer separation in the various layers of the deck, especially at the nose and tail, and where the nose and tail widen out into the larger, thicker section of the deck. And then a major point that I want to check going forward is the damn wheel nuts, because I've had wheels fall off twice now, and so I'm going to go around and check all 4 nuts to make sure they're nice and snug and tightened up against the spacer. And I'm also going to check for tightness. Do they loosen super easily? And I'm going to start actually bringing replacement nuts to replace any loosened lock nuts on my wheels. And then I check the truck mounts themselves. Have any of the bolts that secure them to the deck snapped? And you'd be surprised, I've actually had that happen so far. Are the bolts loose at all? Do they need to be tightened? Vibrations from riding around all day can certainly jiggle them loose, so definitely gotta make sure they're nice and tight. And then I take a look at the ESC and battery cases themselves. Same idea, I check the bolts, make sure nothing's snapped, make sure nothing's loose. I check for stress fractures and cracks forming, and then I check the latches and the hinges to make sure those are working just fine. Then I take a look at the batteries. All my batteries are in like a blue protective shrink wrap, so I make sure that there's no abrasions and that they're not starting to wear away or unravel. Is the wiring okay? Is there any wear through the wire starting to form that could cause a short? I also need to make sure that the wires aren't coming out of the connector points. And then the last item is the wheels. If it's a pneumatic wheel, I check the pressure. How is the tire wear and tread depth? Any uneven wear that I'm noticing? Any damage like flaking polyurethane, cracks starting to form, foreign objects actually embedded in the wheel? All of that, well, probably a bit overkill, will at least give me an early warning sign if something's about to fail, so that I can hopefully catch it at the beginning of the day and not, when I'm out 20 kilometers in the middle of nowhere down a trail. And it's a very, very thorough and ridiculous list, but with the amount of issues that I've had, can you really blame me?